Hello and welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today for the Learn Tourism Talks webinar. So, to kick us off, I am really excited just to share a little bit about what I've been calling the future of tourism conversation. So, I think we all know there's lots of stuff changing in the world these days. I feel like every month it's like a wild roller coaster. I keep telling myself that the roller coaster is fun. It is fun and it might be challenging, but it's a way to change perspective rapidly, right? See things from new angles and get new visions for what's possible down the road. And so even though I think there's lots of change in the air, I think there's some things that are really important for all of us in the industry to be paying attention to. And these are the things that have, in a lot of ways, really inspired myself and the rest of the team as we have been planning the Learn Tourism Conference. Our goal, of course, is to always be bringing to you educational content that is extremely valuable and actionable, useful, something you can put into play in your own destination, in your own community. That I think is key. If we're learning things, but we can't really apply them, then that knowledge doesn't really get put to use. And that's what I wanted to start us off with this first few minutes is just talking about these trends and the things that are really important for us to be thinking about as we come to the end of the year and we look at what 2026 holds. How can we align ourselves with really what is going on with the residents that we serve and with the visitors that we want to attract to our brands, to our regions, and things like that? I think one of the biggest things we all know, but I felt it was important to just highlight, this is something I feel Stephen brings up regularly in our Learn Tourism conversation, is we've really shifted from just marketing and promoting our regions to really the stewardship of our regions. And again, that's not new. That's been going on for a while now, but it is becoming a cornerstone of all the other trends that we see rising to the top. So I feel like it's the fuel on the fire, per se. It's this idea that we really have to steward the places that we represent and the places where our businesses are based. And 84% of destination organizations in a recent Destination Next Futures study for this year are actively involved in this type of development. So shifting from that idea that we're just advertising, we're just heads and beds, we're just promoting different events to how are those things happening, but we are also simultaneously engaging the community, really being bigger picture and more holistic about our strategic planning and how we develop our tourism products or how we develop the draws to our regions, right? So our success is really become dependent on balancing that sort of view of promotions and advertising and marketing with things like preservation, community engagement, sustainability. And I just think that's really become a root of a lot of the trends that we're going to talk about today. So again, we're going to go through these really quick, but don't hesitate to throw in questions if you have them. But these 5 components really informed me this year as we chose our speakers and as we really looked at the different types of educational sessions we wanted to have. So of course, we all know AI is part of the conversation. I do want to say, more importantly now, the fast expansion of AI needs to be the really specific conversation that we're having, how that impacts us internally, how it impacts the visitor, the resident, everybody else out there in the public, right? So you're going to see that we don't necessarily have one AI session. We have AI integrated through a lot of our conversations. And I think that's because we're seeing the fast expansion of this technology. Not only is it being deployed in more places, but is becoming faster, better, smarter. I will also say sometimes it's becoming stupider and more frustrating. It depends on which week we're talking about. But that's where we'll really look at, I think, from practical application. Where are people deploying AI? How is it working? If you're thinking about solving different problems, what's maybe the first problem you need to look at solving? Or how can you really target your approach to AI to meet the needs of the people that you want to serve, right? So you're going to see that throughout our schedule, that this is incorporated in a lot of the different conversations. And I think too, we're going to see AI and visitor experience be connected more and more as we go into 2026. Right now, there's a lot of back end conversations there's a lot of trip planning conversations, but I think we're going to see that AI also has a role to play in the literal experience that people are having. And we're going to start to see more people having that experience. So we're going to get the chance to learn in that process. The second trend is really about securing your community's financial future. So, with all the different shifts and changes that are going on, whether that's governmental or political or both, I think that we can all be aware that the financial situation is just it's shifting and changing, and depending on where you are, there's different things impacting it. I think there's also lots of stuff related to natural disasters and different issues that have gone on around the country that's also impacting different communities. And so, really being creative and innovative about the way that you're getting your funding, the way that you're securing your funding is going to be key. You'll notice that we have some great speakers coming in to talk about this and to just share their experiences and really help you come up with, like I said, maybe out of the box kind of plans and different strategies for managing this type of thing. So, again, if you look at that Destination Next Future study for this year, 42% of destination organizations foresee funding risks in the next 3 years. And so you'll see that we're talking more about advocacy as well, which I think becomes important. So, educating people about the impact of visitation to your region is really important when it comes to solidifying that funding. And I'm really excited we're bringing some people in just to talk about that. The third trend, and again, this is maybe not news to all of us, but I think the way AI is developing so quickly, we're going to see this become super, super important in the next like 12 months or so. Generic marketing is done. This world where you can think of people in a giant pile, we really have to let that go. We really have to start thinking about how travelers, they are already getting so many tools for making their travel experience hyper personalized and really speaking directly to their niche interests. Really, I think AI is going to exponentially expand what is possible here. So this is again something you're going to see in our schedule and our programming over and over at the conference is different ways that this is applied, right? How do we make sure that we are, from a tracking and data perspective, getting the information that we need? How can we think about advertising and the way that targeting is done? All of these things are really quickly accelerating to the next level. And so hopefully you'll get lots of great ideas about how you can put those things into practice. At this point, I think specificity is going to be very valuable when you're thinking about everything in the future, especially communications. And relevancy has always been important. Relevancy is going to continue to be really valuable when it comes to all forms of digital marketing. The fourth trend is inclusion first destinations. So, really looking at how we can make sure anybody who wants to come to where we are can do it and they can have the tools they need to make the right decisions for themselves. I think in a lot of ways, we've really seen that if you're working in tourism and travel, inclusion, accessibility, these types of things, they're not just a perk. It's really if you want to, again, expand your funding, look at different ways to bring in new markets, really expand certain target audiences by including people of different abilities. That's not just a social issue. It's really this huge economic opportunity and a financial opportunity to make sure that people who want to be in your region can be there. In the US alone, travelers with disabilities are spending nearly 50 billion annually on travel. That was from 2024. Also, you'll find if you dig into this study, if you partner the people who are differently abled with the people that usually travel with them, that number actually doubles, right? So it's usually that they are bringing more than one person on that trip with them. And so it can make a big difference. Amy, I see your question. Yes, all of these are live links. So when you get a copy of this, you can dig into the reports. I will say the Destinations Next Future study, you have to be a member of Destinations International to actually get that full study, but I at least provided the links to some of the broader data that they have shared with the public. So you'll just be able to click those links and view later on. Great question. And then the final actual trend I want to mention is the community as the customer model. And this is something that is just hits home for me because where I live is a place where this has become incredibly important. So, really, just knowing that our local residents, our community members, they are as much of a customer as the visitors are. And if we want to really succeed with the visitors, we have to have the residents behind us, supporting us on board with what we are doing to bring people into the region. And we want our local people to see what we're doing in tourism travel as a force for good and is something that is actually benefiting them and lifting that up. And again, this is not a new part of the conversation. I think we've been having a lot of conversations about this over the last few years, and especially since 2020. I think there's been a big shift in understanding this piece of it. But this you're going to see is literally throughout, I think, all of our programming, right? How important it is that the community is part of your vision. And a lot of this is where I think a lot of destinations and regions and cities and towns, this is a place where they have high priorities because it's been difficult. It's been difficult to bring people together. It's been difficult to get everybody on the same page. So seeing that as an area of soft skills where we can all improve, we can all get better at what I often refer to as like the internal diplomacy within my own town. It's like, how can we work on that together? So again, I just wanted to go over those because they've been really inspiring for me as we went throughout the year. And I'm curious to hear in the chat, what trend is the most exciting to you or seems the most relevant to your particular community, or if you're an attraction or a hotel or something to your community, your specific brand or business? Is there something that just feels like, yes, we're working on this, or yes, we are already getting a vision of what that looks like? And again, just to go over what they are, the community is customer model, inclusion first, generic marketing is over. As a marketing person, this just delights me. I support this trend always and forever. Securing your community's financial future, and the fast expansion of AI in both trip planning and visitor experience. So again, if one of these is really standing out to you, we'd love for you to share in the chat which one kind of is just really, you are already putting it into practice, or you are really excited as you come to the end of this year to think about how this is going to be a part of your bigger vision and strategy. And hopefully folks will share in the chat what they're thinking. And in the meantime, I am going to go ahead and pass the mic to Stephen just to talk a little bit about what we're doing to hopefully make this conference a little different from some of the other ones that you may have attended.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sarah. And each of those 5 items that you pointed out is something that I've heard from our partner organizations over the last several years and have become increasingly more and more important in being able to do your job effectively as a destination organization. I appreciate you taking the time and energy and effort and the smarts to put that together. So thank you. I want to share with you folks a little story, and that's about how we got started here at Learn Tourism. Years ago, I was at a tourism industry conference and brought Sheena Works, who's now our Chief Learning Officer, with me. And we walked into a workshop, participated in the program, walked out, looked at each other and said, are they all this bad? That was an aha moment. And that aha moment was that there had to be a better way to provide education to people when, where, and how they need it. And what we focused in on were 3 things: transformations, the ability to do something with the knowledge that you gain that you weren't doing or weren't doing well before; engagement. People have to be active participants in their learning experience. They have to be engaging with not only the content, but with the materials and with each other. The third item that we struck upon was accessibility. And accessibility to us means 2 different things: when and where people are gathered and people are ready to learn, and how they learn. And that's a key feature. We know that there are at least 7 different learning styles, up to 12 or 15, depending on which studies you look at. So if we are talking at you, or handing you a workbook, or giving you a pre-read, or showing you a video, and that's all we're doing is that one particular item, then we're missing out on how people really learn. When we talk about transformations, engagement, and accessibility, Those are the three factors we had each and every one of our speakers note in their proposal. What is the transformation? How are you going to engage the audience? And what makes this accessible to everybody? That I have never seen on a call for speakers request. And believe me, I've seen my share of those. The concept behind the Learn Tourism Conference, and actually, no, its foundation comes from the work that Sarah and Justin were doing long before Learn Tourism got involved. And that was in creating a space where people could come together and learn and practice, not just showing people about something, teaching people how to use it. And that's something that we take great pride in and carry forward with this conference. A few things that I love most, it's classroom style. We want you to bring your laptop. We want you to bring your iPad. We want you to bring your phone. We want you to use these things while we're there. You're going to be working with each other. You're going to be working in small groups. You're going to be working independently. You're going to be working one-on-one with the instructors. So there's a lot of opportunity to apply what you're learning in a real use case. And what we found is that one of the greatest barriers separating people from what they learn at a conference or trade show and what they actually do or practice when they get back to the office is their comfort level. So we're going to build comfort level with all of these tools and techniques that we are talking about at the conference. The other thing I mentioned is we're learning from each other. We are a tremendous group of smart people coming together for this conference. And I say we, meaning everybody who's attending, everybody who's presenting, everybody who's sharing their ideas and contributions to the table, to the conference. And we have a lot that we can learn from each other. And Sarah pointed out at the start of this call, but one of my favorite quotes is when one teaches, two learn. And I guarantee you that each and every one of the speakers at this conference is a nerd. They're a dork. They're a geek. We love to learn as much as you do. And this is a great opportunity for us too. So we're passionate about what we're doing because it works to our advantage as well. The other factor that makes this Learn Tourism Conference really special is that it is accessible. The price point is manageable for most organizations. We have a limited capacity. Thanks, Stephanie. We have a limited capacity. This conference maxed out 150 to 170 participants. We want to maintain that intimate atmosphere of learning and growth together. So that's going to be really special. And it's easy to get to. Richmond is a beautiful city. There's so much art, culture, great food. I was just looking at the Google map of the restaurants that are around our hotel, and I'm starting to get hungry. I have a pot of chili in the background, but some of that soul food is looking good. The sandwich society was looking good. There's so many great things to do there in Richmond. If you want to come a day early, stay a day late, even on the night that we have to go out the dine around night, there's so many wonderful options. And the folks at Richmond Tourism have been incredibly generous with their time and knowledge and insight. As travelers, we want to be in places where we are welcomed, where we are wanted. And they have really shown us that they're excited to have this group of people there at the conference. In fact, I believe they're even presenting one of the topics at the conference. Those are a few of the factors that I think make this conference really special. There are transformations, there is engagement, there is accessibility, and you're with like-minded people who want to be better at what they do today than they were yesterday and aim to be better still tomorrow. So on that note, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Sarah. Ping me with questions, and Sarah, poke me with a stick if I forgot to mention something.
Awesome. I'll just throw out one thing that when I went to Richmond, when I was first invited to come and check out the city, because I'm not sure all of you, but we were based in Asheville, North Carolina for 8 years. So this is the first time we've taken the conference somewhere else. I will just say I ate my way all around the block. That's for real. I loved how walkable everything was. And it was just a really great space to be in because that's something that we have in Asheville too. It's really easy to walk and go explore things. I think that's going to be a really fun part. The other thing I want to say is that over the years that I've planned this conference and attended many others, the number one piece of feedback I always get is we want to talk to each other more. We want to talk to each other more. We want to learn from and with each other. I was just teaching Monday at the Pennsylvania Restaurant and Lodging Association, up here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And that was what I did with my entire session was we talked about a bunch of trends and different things, but then after that, we all went into breakouts and everybody just started actually coming up with different partnership ideas and different trail ideas. And we walked through a whole process as a group. And that's one thing I love about the travel and tourism industry. We really love sharing with each other and learning from each other. It's so collaborative. It's such a positive. I spent years in the business world before I was really in travel and tourism 100% of the time. And the business world in general isn't always like that. It's not as collaborative. Sometimes people want to guard themselves. And so I think that's something we're really going to bring to the table this year too, is more opportunities in every session and throughout each day for you to actually talk to other people, ask them questions about their destination, hear how they're doing something, and then figure out how you can integrate that into your own approach. And Amy, I see your comments, and thanks to the other folks who commented, Leslie and Melissa. I was chatting with them while you were talking, Stephen. I just, I think there's so many cool things in those trends that we talked about that every community is facing. And I think especially the idea of the community as the customer, that's come up a few times with folks. I think we're all learning more and more about that. And like I said in Asheville, I think it's been a huge theme for us to figure out really how to bring people together, even though there's lots of different opinions and things like that out there. So thanks for the comments.
And Sarah, I'm going to point out that a couple of the folks that are joining us in this chat today, in this conversation, are actually some of the presenters at the conference. So it's great to see you wanting to learn even more as we are in this conversation today. And if you want to share what you're most excited about, please do that in the chat or ping one of us and we'll see if we can get you some camera time.
Yeah, please feel free to share because I feel like, as Stephanie had said in the chat, I love that we attracted a whole bunch of additional nerds to the conversation. So our team is very nerdy about everything we do. And we always want to dig into the details and dig into the stories and dig into the data. And yeah, I love that a lot of people are relating to that and want to be a part of that.
And I'll chime in too that one of the challenges I often found with conferences and with education programs in the industry before was that we were calling on people who were already in the room. Oftentimes they had something to sell. So teaching was secondary to whatever it was that they were selling. We don't have that at the Learn Tourism Conference. We sourced and we found people who are skilled at teaching and educating. We have speakers coming in from South Africa, from Central Africa. We have folks coming in from the Midwest. We have folks coming in from all over just to teach and just to share what they know and to learn with you. So that's something that really makes me excited about this conference too.
Yeah, and that is a perfect segue into what I wanted to share next, which is essentially just how you can view the schedule for the event. And I'm going to share the link in here as well. So if you'd like to actually look at it while we're talking, you can do that. When you go to our schedule page, there is a little audio overview. So if you just want to hear a synopsis while you're doing something else, you can play that and it'll just give you a run through of kind of some highlights that are going on in the schedule. But we've got a pretty packed 2 days. You'll notice as you look through the schedule that each sort of time block throughout the day has 3 different sessions. And again, that's because our tracks are broken into digital technology and marketing, visitor services and experience, and leadership and local impact. So again, you'll see that AI is threaded throughout these conversations, communications is threaded throughout these conversations. You're going to touch on those type of subjects in almost every track. But what we really tried to think about is different people in different job roles and exactly what it is that they might need to learn in particular for their particular job. So we've got, over the years, we've had a handful of destinations that bring a group. So we'll have a group of 3, we'll have a group of 5, a group of 2 that come together. And so that way everybody can spread out, attend the different sessions that are most relevant to them. Then they can bring it back to their teams and educate each other. So in a lot of ways, you'll see that there might be some things that seem related, but it's about what is the role that you play with your organization or your brand and which way do you want to approach these things. Any of the scheduling, if you just click to reveal, you'll be able to see who the speaker is, why you should choose that session, and exactly what it is that you're going to learn. So we tried to make it really clear, again, that this is actionable skills, actionable knowledge. What are the real perks to choosing any particular topic area? And what do the speakers, the educators really think that you're going to walk away with at the end? And so here's a great example of Professor Stephanie Emmerich, and she's on the line today. So thanks for being here, Stephanie. But you can click through and take a look at all of this. It also breaks down the rest of the schedule as well. So you'll see when we've got breakfast, when we've got lunch, when we've got our cocktail party on Monday night, and so forth. So as you are planning things for coming to Richmond, if you decide to do it, this just gives you really a clear view of how everything's going to play out those 2 days. There's a few things I wanted to highlight that I'm really excited about. One is this session Game Changer, leveraging NFL fandom to boost tourism and visitor engagement. I have worked with Go Laurel Highlands quite a bit over the last few years, attending their partner summits up. They're located just outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This is going to be presented by Laura Argentbright. They have done so many cool things as a destination with their connection to the NFL and to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if you're into sports, this is something we've never had somebody come and talk about, which I'm really excited about. And so there's things like that you'll notice are pretty unique and specific. I'm also
I'm
really
gonna
excited. Yeah, jump in,
I'm
Stephen.
gonna chime in real quick because I know this question is going to come up. You're not locked into any one of those tracks as an attendee. You can actually pick and choose from each of the sessions which one you want to go to. If part of your work is about leadership and local impact, and part of your work is about marketing and tech, and part of your work is about visitor services and engagement, you in experiences, you have the opportunity to pick and choose which sessions are going to be best for you. Back to you, Sarah.
No, thank you so much for remembering to say that. Because, yeah, you don't have to stick to one. You can mix and match whatever you'd like. The other one I wanted to highlight is this great session about DIY accessibility, leveraging AI to open your property to everyone. Taryn Tomlinson is a speaker who is coming all the way from South Africa to be with us. When she pitched this, I was really amazed at what she was pitching us. So I think you're going to find there's some really unique things in the schedule that you maybe haven't seen other places. And like I said, the thing that makes me most excited is we're going to get in and actually do these things together. And so you can just scroll through anytime you want to dig deeper into exactly what the topic is and why you would want to attend. You can just open up those little spots and review. And I'll encourage you too to share it with the rest of your team, share it with other people that you know that you might want to come, whether it's friends or colleagues. Again, we have so many people that come together to learn as a team, as a unit, as a group, so that they can spread themselves out across different topics and share what they learn and then take back and put it into practice. The other thing you'll find when you go to the website is just we've got all of our event details up here. So you can learn more about our host hotel, which will be the Hilton downtown Richmond. I am a history nerd as well. And so we get to stay in this really cool hotel that used to be a department store back in like the 30s and 40s and 50s. I really fell in love with it when I did the site visits, and they're a really great team, but I just think it's a unique place. We'll have some special things we can do for those of you that are also history nerds while we're there, that'll be interactive and fun, which I'm looking forward to. And also, as we're updating everything for the conference, you'll see that I have our section of our blog that's just rolling out here under event details. And so I'm putting in more information in the coming weeks just about Richmond, about different special things that we're going to be doing at the event. And if you want to register, you just go to the website and you can click right onto the registration page. Just to be clear for anyone who hasn't explored this yet before, we have a few different ticket prices. These prices will stay the same no matter what. So again, for those of you who maybe attended in the past, we used to have tiered ticket pricing that went up and up over time. I think just in the spirit of budgets and funding, we wanted to make it one price. It's one price no matter when you buy your tickets. And we have a couple options. You can include an extra donation that goes into our scholarship fund, or you can include that as well as a ticket to the CEO and founders dinner that we'll be having. So that's a special event that Stephen's going to be hosting, which I'm excited about. It'll take place after our cocktail party on Monday, or you can just get your regular tickets. But again, this will just be the same packages no matter what. So as you're making decisions over the next few months, you don't have to feel that pressure to get it done. But you can also learn more on the registration page just about what it is that we do with our scholarship funds. That's something that we work really hard, I think, in every single part of what we do as an organization to make sure that we can lift up folks that need the support whenever that's possible. And so you can simply come here and just begin the process of filling out our registration form. And that is how you can buy your tickets right away. I want to just open up and make sure, are there any questions coming up for anybody? Anything you'd like to know, feel free to hop in the chat and drop them in there.
I am going to open my big mouth and put my foot right in it and dig deep into my wallet. For those of you who are joining us today, if you do register for the conference before the end of next week, I will personally contribute an additional $50 to the scholarship fund for each one of those registrations. That comes from me personally because it's something that matters to me. As somebody who went out of the way to found a nonprofit and just do good stuff, it's a joy and a pleasure to be able to do that sort of thing. So an extra $50 to the scholarship fund for each one of you joining us today that registers for the conference before the end of next week. Surprise, I didn't tell you I was going to do that.
No, and that's a perfect addition because I wanted to close on. You'll also find on the website some great testimonials from the conference over the last few years, as well as our Why Attend page. So again, if you just are thinking, is this a good fit for me? Feel free to watch some of those little videos. They're all like a minute or less. You can also read through that Why Attend page. You can also always reach out to myself or Stephen anytime, or anyone on our team for that matter, and just talk to us about what it is that you are thinking about, and we'll just talk it out with you. Don't hesitate. We are strangely one of those teams that's high tech, but we'll get on the phone anytime. So don't hesitate to reach out to us if you want to talk it out. And the last thing I just want to throw out as we're wrapping up is one of the things we're going to be doing over the next few months leading up to the conference is some free educational webinars in addition to the ones that we already do once a month. So again, we usually do a Learn Tourism Talks webinar every month. Last month, we did a great AI panel. I just posted it to our LinkedIn. If you missed it, definitely listen. It was a bunch of super cool people that we brought also from a sort of global perspective to talk about AI. But we do something every month that's educational. We'll be adding a couple extras of those in November, December, January, and February. So we will be sharing that with all of you who signed up for today. Whether you're coming to the conference or not, you can certainly join us for those educational webinars. I'm excited to bring some things to the table around social media before we get to the end of the year and things like that. But I'm curious, as we are up, is there anything that you all are really wanting to learn? Is there any topic area or training area or area of support where you would love to hear from other experts or other destinations? If you have ideas for that, please feel free to hop in the chat right now and share them with us. Pretty much we source from our own partners and clients all the time, different ideas, but we figured while we have all of you joining us today, if there's topics that you feel like, hey, we really need support around this, we're really looking to talk about this issue, please let us know. We have so many cool speakers at our fingertips. Stephen is a king of content. He has provided, over the last year of working together, he provides so much great information in our blog and our podcasts, like with all sorts of stuff that I think is super useful. So if there's any topic areas you are looking to hear about or you think have been missed other places, let us know and we can probably work it into our conversations over the next few months and see if we can at least bring some of those to the forefront. So I don't see anybody popping in there, but Melanie Fallon from Visit Alexandria, you're looking for info on hospitality training and ambassador training. Awesome.
I got your back, Melanie.
Yeah, we could definitely help with that. And that's actually, thanks for making that point, because we could maybe work something in around, especially the topic of hospitality and ambassador training. We have you'll get an announcement about one of our next webinars, Melanie, which will be happening December 3rd at noon Eastern time. It'll be on workforce development and hospitality. We're working with an awesome partner, Tim Floor, over at the University of Memphis. And he's going to be coming in and talking about workforce development. So I'll think about how we can dovetail that with maybe another session specifically about ambassador training as well. That's a great idea. And maybe some folks are hyping, but if you have any other ideas, please feel free to hop in there. Stephen, are there any topics that you're excited to learn about coming up?
Oh, that's a good question. I love to learn. Learning is my passion. And whether that's learning about science, technology, art, culture, nature, I'm excited to learn about the people who are there, about their communities, about what's important to them, about what they're eager to learn about and what they can share. So I'm really excited about that learning from each other component that I think plays a big part in this conference. The role that destination organizations play in their communities has changed so much over the last 10, 15 years that I think this is a fantastic opportunity to talk about tech, to talk about marketing, to talk about becoming a leader and making sure that you're delivering impact to your community, to talk about your visitor services and what experiences you're giving to visitors so that they feel that authentic and gracious welcome that we all hope to provide. So, yes, I'm
Yeah.
excited about all of it.
I will say I'm lucky because at Learn Tourism, Stephen allows all of us that are on staff to do learncations. And that means I get to take a day where I'm just allowed to go learn something. I'm to go, yes, 2 days. Thank you. I get 2 days to go and actually dig into something I want to learn. And you've been encouraging me all year to take one, and I haven't because we've been busy. But at the top of my list for sure is I need a day to nerd out on the advertising factor. I'm really excited that we have a class where we're going to talk a little bit more about targeting when it comes to geographics and really that sort of work, because I think there's so much cool data we can collect when we look at it from that perspective. But there's been so many changes with things like meta advertising and Google advertising, and there's all these new platforms coming out with this new AI. So I know that's something that I'm hoping over the holidays I will have more time to like just dig into listening and reading about all those changes. That's my nerd focus for the end of the year, is to get up to date on all of that stuff.
And I'll share this about the Learncation. It is 2 days, anytime you want, anywhere you want, any style of learning that you want, as long as you bring something back to share with the team. So you could go sit on a beach and read for 2 days. I'm not going to complain as long as you come back having learned something. And to be better today than we were yesterday is part of our ethos. It's part of our culture. It's in our DNA.
And I'll just say I really appreciate that because I think everybody learns differently, right? That's something I always used to do in my virtual classes. I would say, hey, it's okay if you come in your pajamas with your grandkid on your lap, if that's the best way for you to make this happen, right? Nobody's going to judge you. If you want to get dressed up, you can do that too. But whatever is going to make you feel like you're able to retain the information, practice the information, that's where I need you to be. So I think it's always important with every educational program that you're working on, you remember people's brains are different. The way they're going to remember stuff, the way they're going to process stuff, the way they're going to feel confident doing it after they've learned something, all of that's going to be unique. So we have to always be thinking about how we round our programming out to make sure everyone can connect in and win at the end of the day.
And that focus on making sure everybody gets something from the conversation applies as much to the conference as it does to the keynote talks, as it does to the custom courses that we build, to the technology that we provide. That is a thread that's woven through everything that we do. So if you can't make the conference, which I really hope you do, then you can hire us as nerds to come and speak to you and your group separately or both.
Yeah, thanks for adding that in. That's great. All right, I know we're right up to the top of 1:45, which is when we said you would be out of here. We're 1 minute early. High five, Stephen. Stephen also believes in short meetings that get us to the point. So thank you for that. We really appreciate all of you being here. Like I said, I'm going to reach out soon. I'll have the recording for you. I'll have an invite to some of our other free educational opportunities. You'll also get some information about the conference. As Stephen said, if you want to sign up, he will be donating money. Thanks for always doing that, Stephen, jumping with great ideas at the last minute. But we really appreciate you all. Have a lovely day and a great rest of your week. And we hope that we'll get to see you in Richmond, Virginia.
Thanks, folks. Have a great week. See you in Richmond.